I'll intro you and then you can intro yourself. Okay, all right. All right, hello everybody, and welcome back to the stream. Today, I have a guest that you probably, maybe you've heard of because he's a pretty big deal nowadays. Now, we all know that keyboards are freaking expensive, right? Things get up to $1,000, $3,000, maybe sometimes $4,000. But this other hobby, one that I'm barely scratching the surface of, I've already, thrown in a big chunk of money in it so far. And things here get really expensive, or at least I think I think they do. I'm still a noob. But my guest today is, well, Crinacle, or Crinacle Plus, as he's now known as. He's an expert in these things, and we're gonna get to know, what he thinks of my audio setup, what his is, maybe learn about some things I could purchase. Maybe if you have any questions, you can ask him that too. So here he is. Please welcome Crinacle to the stream.
Which I am very much less serious.
You were muted for a little bit, so you're gonna have to do it again. Please welcome Crinacle.
Hi, so I'm Crinacle. Most people know me as one of the biggest nerds in the headphone/IEM space, and I have a website, crinacle.com. But I guess nowadays most people don't know me for that, and more for my YouTube channel, which is currently more popular than a website, I guess, which is called Crinacle Plus. Used to be called Crinacle, but that's a different story.
That's funny. They said the irony is that they couldn't hear you, but you can now. Okay, I have one question. Does this bother you right here that my right side has like one notch and my left side has like 5 notches?
Now that you pointed it out, it slightly irks me. Why is it like that?
Okay, let me see if I could fix. I don't know. Chat was really bothered.
Is it a comfort thing?
Maybe my head's
Maybe if it's a comfort thing, anything works, honestly.
Maybe my head's not symmetrical.
Unlike many other audiophiles, I am one of the very few who just tells you to do whatever you want. Do whatever makes you feel comfortable.
All right.
Buy stuff that you like.
I think my head's uneven. Even if it means... I think we'll just have to deal with it. Mm-hmm. This is comfortable.
I'm actually a little bit more offended by the fact that I think you might be using different pads.
From the original, yeah, I changed them out.
Is it Dakoni pads?
Yes, is that offensive to you?
I don't know, because in a way I'm kind of curious on that. Like I like using the stock pads on the 6XX. Is that the 6XX?
These are the 58X, I think.
58X,
yeah,
right?
I'm not fancy enough.
Okay, so honestly, I haven't tried that, so I will reserve all comments until I hear the 58X. On any Dakoni pads. I'm actually pals with the Dakoni people, so I'm sure they would send me.
You're pals with them, and yet you question them a little bit.
I question everyone.
I gotcha. Yeah.
So for those who don't know, like I'm basically the guy who roasts virtually everything. So yeah.
Except those Sennheiser.
Its criticisms is in my blood.
Okay, so. I guess we start with, how did you get into this bass? What age?
I wanted better headphones. I think that's what most people start out with, right? Like one day they just wake up and like, I just want to buy something better.
I did.
Better than. Like, what did you start out with? Like,
those
those free
Apple.
Yeah, exactly. The freebie stuff, right? Yeah. So I started out with that as well. I'm not like Jesus Christ. I started out with humble beginnings, and then I decided I want better headphones, and then I did. And then my first headphone, which I purchased back in 2009, was the Audio-Technica M50, the original one. No X, no S, just M50. And then things just start snowballing from there. I started buying more and more stuff, my professional career didn't really take off until like 2016.
Did you
Around
start
there.
writing right away, or did you just like try them out?
I kind of did. I kind of started writing in like 2011, but it was very cringy. I'm sure people can find my early works.
For reference,
I'm not proud of them.
how old are
but,
you?
It is.
Is this
It
NDA?
it is a secret, but I usually tell people I'm either 19 or 29 or 39. It depends on. I don't know.
It depends on their age. Okay, all right. So you started writing in 2011 and then got serious in 2016. Is that correct?
In 2016, I started out with the measurements, which is what I'm known for now, and then that was my hook, basically. That was what people got. That's what got people
okay.
looking for my reviews. And then I started my website in 2019, and then I restarted my YouTube channel in late 2021, late last year. Yeah. And then I started my new channel this year.
Nice. Can't wait to see the third channel. Oh, no. There is a third one.
I do have a third channel, though.
Yeah. IE Food. I watched that.
Yeah.
You should do a
April 1st.
Rice tier list, please.
Oh,
I request.
That's actually interesting. Yeah, might be. Yeah.
Okay, so you started off with the free stuff, and then you got into Audio-Technica A50. No, yes.
M50.
M50.
Yeah, very popular headphones even today.
Did you buy any external accessories? You know, the amp DAC stuff that people talk about all the time?
I did near the beginning. It was like a Fio something. At this point, I kind of forgot at this point. I used to own this old piece of technology called the Simoy, the Chumoy, Simoy BB.
I might be too beginner
exactly.
or too young.
You
I'm not
probably
sure.
Know, but I'm sure your editor will probably put up something there.
Yeah, something.
It's interesting because it uses an Altoids tin. You know what Altoids are?
Yeah, the little mints, cinnamon.
Yeah. So they just like, after you take out all the mints, of course, and then they put in like the PCB and everything. They drill holes into it, and that's your amp. Oh. So it was very famous for using the Altoids tin, the CMY BB. Very, very old stuff. Nowadays it's obviously not popular. Most people wouldn't know about it, but nostalgic for me because but beyond that, I have amplifiers here as well. I don't think I've ever dabbled into like really desktop amplifiers because I'm usually using IEMs, which are in-ears, very efficient, can just run it off your phone. I don't believe in like you needing anything more than just a good phone or a good dongle. Nowadays it's the dongle.
Yeah, dongles are nice. I have a dongle.
Very cheap, very efficient. You don't need that much of it. I'm not saying that things beyond that are useless. I'm just saying that dongles are good.
They're good enough.
Yeah. Good enough.
Okay. Cool. So, let me think. I have my mini collection of audio things that I've gotten, into throughout the years. And my first thing, don't judge too much, it is the HyperX Cloud 2s.
Those are extremely popular headphones.
They got phrase on the top because I think these are like 4 years old.
Oh.
So I've had these a really long time. Yeah. They look really weird now because I've bent the top piece quite a bit, so it'll like stick up on top of my head. But I love them. They're comfortable. But I didn't know of anything else while I was using these. And now I have an updated version that's like their Bluetooth version, and now that I'm more educated, I'm like, oh, that's a V curve, I'm getting educated. I think it is. Because the bass and the treble is pretty intense. I actually haven't tested
the Cloud Slide properly. Someday I will. So I'll reserve comments because it's been a long time since I heard like HyperX Clouds. But I have heard actually good things about them.
They're very comfortable. I don't know about sound since I don't know, they're closed
I will
back,
reserve
they're sort of
comments.
bassy.
I will not comment on things I haven't heard. I don't want the mob to come after me.
All right. Chat seems to like them. They love their Cloud 2s. They're also affordable.
Very popular headphones. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure that most people watching the stream would definitely have heard,
Very
or
popular.
at least heard of them,
Okay.
not hear them.
After that, I went into something a little more expensive. I saw someone else wear these with the gray pads, and I was like, you know, they look so cool. Let me buy some. These are the DT990 Pros 80 ohms. I used them for a little bit, but they were very, very sharp, I guess. I don't know how you would say.
Yeah.
I looked it up. There's a word for it. Is it sibilant? No.
Sibilant. Yeah,
sibilant.
It's a good descriptor of Bayer Dynamics. Bayer Dynamics in general are just very notorious for their treble. So I'm surprised that you went all the way down to the 990.
Well, I didn't know anything. I just wanted the gray pads. I just wanted
because the most popular model, I believe, is the 770.
Those are the closed back ones.
Yes,
right.
Because most people see them like their favorite musicians using them in the studios, and like, I want that as well, and then just buy it.
Yeah, I wanted the gray pads, but then I started using them, and I was like, I cannot listen to this.
It's too sharp.
Yeah, it's way too sharp. I tried some other things in between, but ended up returning them, like the Philips SHP 9500s.
Those are also very bright. Yes.
Very popular. Very big for my small head. Sat on my head like an umbrella.
Oh.
It looked silly. So that's probably all I've spent on. Oh, and the drop Sennheiser
58X. Very popular as well.
Yeah, probably
I do have a
my
question.
favorite.
Why do you choose the 58X as opposed to the arguably more popular 6XX?
I think at the time I just didn't have the extra money to spend.
Okay.
This was a while back, so I think everyone here knows that I make enough money where I could probably go and buy 6XXs. It's just I already have these, and then I don't want another pair sitting there, because I have my Sennheiser PC38Xs, I have 37Xs, and it's like I'm starting to hoard. I look like a hoarder already. So I do have a bunch of Sennheiser. I really like Sennheisers. I like their sound signature. I think I haven't experienced much else.
Industry standards, yeah. They're mostly known for flat.
So I've got all my gaming headphones.
I mean, hey, I myself am using Sennheisers as well. The 800Ss.
How much are those?
1,700. They might have revised the price, but 1,000 plus.
Wow. Did you say $1,700? Like 1,700?
Or could be slightly different because they revise the prices a lot. I'm sure it's at least 15.
Okay.
At least.
I don't think I'm going that far. I haven't even spent that $1,500 on a keyboard, you know.
But then you said that this is a much more expensive hobby.
That's right. It is a more
justifiable.
A much more expensive hobby. So between what you have and what I have, what's the biggest difference here? Like if I put those on, would I instantly be like, oh my gosh, like where have these been my whole life?
I would say yes if you're going that far, like this, like from what you're wearing to this. Yeah. Mostly the reason why I use this is because it's what most audiophiles would consider the widest sounding headphone. Like you hear everything all around you that literally no other headphone is able to do as well. And I think that's the most immediate thing that you would hear out of the 800Ss, that it's just so much more open sounding. Then maybe the second thing that comes in would be that it's a little bit sharp. It's a lot sharper than the 58X, I think. because again, I have not tested the 58X. Drop is very. I do not get to try a lot of things from Drop, unfortunately.
Oh, is it because of shipping, or is it just because
Yeah,
they're like,
it's
I don't
because
want Crinacle to roast me?
I think that might be an issue. I think that might be as well. But yeah, I'm in Singapore. Drop is mostly catered to North America. Even though my audience is North Americans, so that's why sometimes they send me stuff. They're like, oh yeah,
okay.
we need to send you stuff as well. But not often. So things like the 58X and a few others that I'm probably missing out.
So they
I don't
send
get
you the
sent that.
good stuff, but not the like
Yeah,
the slightly
sent me
stuff
the,
under that.
They sent me the 8XX. That one is the $1,100 one, the $1,100.
Okay.
Yeah. They sent me.
Yeah, they want to send you the high quality stuff, not the stuff that's underneath that.
I would like I would like some of the lower end stuff though, because apparently Drop is really good at value, but not so much catering to the high end crowd, at least in my opinion. But we're going into roasting territory at this point. I don't want to.
I mean, I think they're very similar in keyboard space. The high end they struggle a little bit, but in terms of accessories, like they've got it all.
Someday. I do have switches that use the holy pandas. Is it called the holy pandas?
Yeah,
because I have holy bulbas.
Oh, okay. So they're the quiet ones, right?
Are they? I don't know. Because again, my friend built it for me. He says like, hey, this is good. Yeah. So shout outs to a ZXMech, ZXMECH. Yeah.
ZXMECH. Nice.
Exactly. Yeah. See. Okay. So now that I have held up my end of the deal, that's done.
Oh, you needed to shout him out. Was that it?
Nah.
Did he ask?
But he built my keyboard, so he deserves a bit of credit.
Oh
right?
yeah, for sure. Yeah, always credit where credit's due. Someone said the 8XX was a big miss.
Oh yeah, it was terrible.
Oh, for that price, it's terrible. Oh
I still prefer this. Most people, I mean, of course, this is more expensive, but the 8XX, in my opinion, just went in a completely different direction. It's I'm not sure what because like I wish I could give an equivalent for you in the keyboard space, but it's kind of like trying to make a drop version of a very, very popular thing, and then just going like, you know what, maybe you could make some changes to this. And then they tried to change it, and it changed it in a completely different, wrong direction. Yeah. I'm not sure if there's an equivalent in the keyboard space.
I'm sure there are. I would have to think about them. Yeah, I would have to think about them.
Basically, screwed up the 800S, at least in my opinion. Yeah. I'm sure some people enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure some people are like, oh, maybe I can. Yeah, I have $1,000 headphone now. You know, I feel good about myself.
Yeah, just enjoy it. Who cares about what some jagoff like me thinks, right? Just enjoy the headphone.
Yeah, probably. They probably do. I was gonna ask you something, but I forgot. Oh, I was gonna ask you about mechanical keyboards. How much have you spent in total in mechanical keyboard land? Yeah.
I'm not sure what the exact number is, but I can say the original GMMK, a set of Kale box whites.
Oh, clicky.
Yeah, I love clickies. And then my friend, again, Mr. ZXMac, came up to me and said, hey, I would like to build you a keyboard, but I hate clickies, so you're going to have to settle for tactiles. So I'm like, all right, give me the best tactiles you know then. And then he gave me like Holy Bulbas, which apparently needs 2 sets of switches.
Yes,
both of which I paid for, of course.
You take them apart and then you like put the parts together, and then the other parts
Franken switch
you don't need anymore.
But then I am in contact with this store called Epo Maker. I'm not sure if you heard of them.
Mm-hmm.
And they've basically sponsored me an Arco Mod 007 with the neon keycaps. And then, so basically for this build, the only thing I had to pay for was the Holy Pandas and the Boba U4Ts. Yeah.
Okay.
And then beyond that, I'm not sure where to go up from here. Maybe I'll be thinking about what's it called? Alps citrus?
Alps. Oh, those are sort of rare.
Yeah, but
They're hard to get a hold of.
where else up? Where else is there to go, right?
That's true.
Unless you think there's a better clicky than Kells.
You have to watch my clicky tier list. But yeah.
I did see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
you guys
we
said
all
that
agreed.
Jades and navies are better. I think they're too heavy.
Yeah, they are quite heavy.
Yeah, which is why I don't like. But apparently, there's another one called the whites, the other white, the other box whites.
Oh,
what's it called?
Are there other box whites? I know Kale's doing new box whites, like box white
V2s.
the
new ones. Yeah, or something. But in general, I haven't thought about mechanical keyboards until I realized that the overlap between the audiophile world and the keyboard world
I know. It's sort of crazy.
Overlap.
That's why I was like, I need to talk to Crinacle. I need to learn about these people. Like, why?
Yeah.
Why do
I do have a theory.
You have a theory?
I do have a theory. Yeah, it's because like both sides are obsessed with sound in one way or another.
Yeah, that's a good theory. My theory was, it's so much lower level compared to your theory. My theory was just like they like spending money on things that
that might be true as well, because apparently the overlap is between three, which is one is mechanical keyboards, then there's the audiophile world, and then there is fountain pens.
Yes, fountain pens. I've noticed
the fountain pens one I still don't know how to link, because that one has nothing to do with sound.
I think it's like a collectible kind of, like maybe a
maybe we're all hoarders in our own right. Yeah.
That's such a weird thing to have overlap. I think there's something going on here.
Though. Yeah,
there's something going on here.
Yeah, I even see like some people in chat like, I can't believe Switch and Click and Crinacle are collabing now. I was like,
they're like, two YouTubers that I both know. It's like, well, that's weird. I mean, we sort of expected this, but we know. All right, I remembered my question that I wanted to ask you from a while ago. So most of the things that I have are all under $200. My IEMs were like $25 from Moondrop. They're I don't
the Quarks.
I don't know what they're called, but they look like this.
Oh, that's the Aria. No, that's the SSP.
I don't know what they're named, but they were like $30, and then I got them, and I was like, yeah, I sort of like them. So that's what I'm using in the IEM space. But all of my other headphones are under 200. At what point of spending does it like start doing this diminishing returns kind of curve?
Yeah, that's a very common question there, Lovely. It really depends. It really depends on personal like individual opinions on worth, because to one person they'll be like, I like the freebie earbuds well enough, and if something is free, it means that anything above that
is a waste of money.
Immediately becomes diminishing returns. You can't divide by zero at that point. But
okay,
I think personally,
let's say if I was willing to spend $800, when would it start, being like not as worth?
I want to say 300.
300?
I want to say 300.
So I'm close. Yeah. I just need to make that extra purchase, whatever that is.
I mean, that's assuming like, all right, you know what? I want to spend like about $1,000 on an IEM. I would say at that point, probably about 300 is where you get the maximum improvement. And then things quickly start to get very same-ish as you
Mhm.
go up the ladder. But I think in general, for most people, it'll be around $80.
For
Yeah,
IEMs?
for IEMs.
Okay, so
Because
80 for IEMs and 300 for headphones?
no. As in for both sides, it'll be like it depends on how much you're willing to spend. Like for
Oh,
the
okay.
average person, you're probably
Mhm.
willing to spend about 200. Not really 200,
Yeah,
but
maybe a
let's
little
assume.
less
Let's
than
assume.
that.
Yeah, but so in general, I'd say probably $80 for most people, and for people who like to ball, it's probably about 300.
Okay.
And then anything beyond that is just kind of like, I really want to spend money, and I just want to throw money at the screen, and therefore I'm just going to buy something.
Just take my
Yeah.
money.
Yeah. So, so $80. That's usually where majority of the sales are. At least that's what I know from the IEM market, because I'm kind of intertwined in it at this point with all the collabs and stuff.
Mhm.
So around $80 is where all the volume is.
Okay,
And
all right.
of course, you get higher as you go on, like around $50 as well.
Okay,
But
so
80 is where you get giants like, let's say, the Moondrop Aria, the Dunu Titan S, the Atmosic ER2. There's more off the top of my head, but my brain isn't working right now. But you get the gist.
it's too early. It's too early. So you've collaborated with a few companies to make your own IEMs. Like if you had to put your IEMs and other people's IEMs in a tier list, where would they be?
That's conflict of interest. I can't answer that question in good faith.
Oh darn.
Yeah.
Would you recommend that I try out your IEMs though?
Oh, of course. Hey, if you're gonna say good things about it, I can
What
just
if I
send you
don't?
some free stuff.
I'll most likely
kidding.
just wear them, because I don't like wearing headphones on stream.
Just a promotion, right? Yeah, I do have but for those uninitiated in chat, I have man, my brain isn't working right now. Yeah, so I have three collabs. Am I missing anything? Yeah, 3. It's just the one that I made with Theo, which is the Eclipse, which is $150. There's one that I made with C Audio, which is called the Midnight, which is $200. And then I have the most popular one, which is made with Moondrop, called the Dusk, which is $330. Yeah.
Wow, these are
still very pricey. I'm working on cheaper stuff. Yeah, I'm working on cheaper stuff, but someday. Someday.
This makes me feel like I need to go and collab with some companies to get that, that dollar bills.
That dollar. Have you reached out to any keyboard people, any keycap people?
No, I
maybe
have
make your own
not.
switches.
I feel like I need to.
Exactly.
I need to. What if I'm just like not that creative though?
Betty approved. Yeah, basically.
All right. Maybe I'll think about it.
It is a very weird, not weird, like very. What's the word I'm looking for? I guess rare. Yeah, rare to see collaborations happen between like. Technically, I'm a social media influencer, so I'm just gonna call myself that. Yeah, an influencer and a manufacturer coming together. So. Not sure if that would. I'm sure that happens in the keyboard world as well. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think it does.
Yeah, except that's more on like very very low volume type of things, right? But it's like CNC, maybe 100 units total. It usually has an
MOQ, and then like it won't ever come back.
Yeah. The difference here is that I have no MOQ. I just the manufacturers just churn out forever. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. That model right now doesn't exist yet in the keyboard space. Like I think for keyboards, the amount of product that gets released is so fast and so high in quantity that I feel like compared to the amount of people in the market that are looking to buy, it doesn't like propel the volume high enough.
Mm-hmm. But do you think that any creator would start working with a mainstream brand, for example, like Razer, Corsair, Logitech?
I don't know. I've thought
do you
about
think the
it.
creator scene in the keyboard space has that kind of clout at this point?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't. How much clout do you need? A ghost. Like, how much clout is needed? Because I can get millions and millions and millions of views, but I don't think I can convert a high percentage of those views to buy a product.
I think it depends. Maybe I feel like a creator like Teha type of influence
Yeah,
might be able to push something.
I think so too.
If a creator goes big enough, obviously there'll be definitely some demand for it. Clearly,
Yeah,
at some point. Yeah,
definitely.
I think the hardest part is making that connection.
Yeah.
Because yeah, just reaching out to the top brass of people in any of these companies is already a huge task, and I think that's also the main limiting factor for me as well. Trying to reach out to I don't know what's a bigger headphone company. Reaching out to Apple. Apple of all people.
There's Apple.
I wish I could collaborate with
Sennheiser.
Apple. I've talked to Sennheiser a lot, so at least at that point, I have my in.
Yeah. Well, Sennheiser is pretty big boy in the audiophile space.
Yeah, they are.
You have a Sennheiser X Crinacle headphone.
I wish. Hopefully, someday.
Someday. That would be really cool.
Someday.
Yeah, maybe I will think about it, because I have a lot of ins in a lot of different companies because they just want my opinion on things, but they've never wanted to do a collaboration, and maybe that's because I've never expressed that interest in doing a collaboration either.
Now you gotta reach out. You gotta elevator pitch, like what is it called? Elevator pitch them.
Yeah. Oh well, maybe I'll think about it. That'd be cool. It could change the space, but I guess it depends on the price point though. Got a lot of budget, boys.
Okay, so if you were to collaborate with someone, which component would you start out with? A switch, a keycap, the boards?
Ooh, let me think. It'd probably start with keycaps. I think keycaps are the easiest to sell to people because all they need to do is take off their own keycaps, put on the new keycaps, and it will work with pretty much all mechanical keyboards.
Oh yeah. Seems like that would be the easiest. I mean, it's just purely aesthetics, right? You don't have to think about tuning. You don't have to think about like let's say
there's
in
no
the case
R&D. There's no research and development. It's just here's a design concept.
I would like to print this on my keycap.
That's right. Someone saying spacebar foam. I don't know about that. That's not big money, you know? We're talking big money.
Think big.
Yeah, gotta think big. Apple X Crinacle Giga Dongle. That could be a thing.
Oh, if you're talking about expensive stuff in this hobby versus my hobby, I'm curious, what is the most expensive thing or whatever in the keyboard space?
I think
could be anything.
I think it's this Key Cult. So they do very limited numbers. They do auctions. So they have this thing. It's called a Victory auction. So there's 10 keyboards, and whoever auctions like number 11, that's the price that they'll take for all of them. So I think the last one was like 4,300, or it was either 4,300 or 30 something, but it was up there. And that's just for the case and the PCB and plate.
But that's more on like prices being high because of a very limited supply, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, in headphones is very different, where it's just the price is high just because.
Just because it's high.
Just because, yeah. Like in terms of like $4,300, it's like Focal Utopia, which is a really popular headphone in itself. It's one of the top headphones as well. Oh yeah, I mean, mass
That's
produced
correct. I mean,
in
like,
like an artisanal sense, I guess.
okay.
But there is no like oh, we're gonna release only like 1,000 units of this now. They just produce, if there's demand, they'll produce it as well.
Wow. Yeah, I don't think the keyboard space has reached that point yet, where like right now it's everything is group buy, everything is either like 500 units first come first serve, and then maybe we're starting to slowly enter into that. This will become an in-stock item, but like there's maybe 4 or 5 keyboards that are doing that right now. Oh, how
The more
old is the audiophile space?
in terms of like in general, or just like the IEM and headphone space, because there's like different levels. So for example, with the speaker space, it has been there since forever. Like, no idea how long it has been, but there's a reason why speaker audiophiles are kind of like always boomers.
Yeah, they're very old. Yeah.
Very old, yeah. And because they're the only ones who actually have the real estate to play with speakers. Like young people like me, or seemingly young people like me. Like, you know, we're not gonna buy a house just to play with speakers. No.
That's true. You don't have a room dedicated to like acoustic panels and stuff for your speakers.
But then we go into headphones, and then that's more like in the last 30 years. Like, not 30 years. It's still like the first headphones were still pretty old, like in the 1960s or something. But in terms of the hobby itself, like when people started to actually think of headphones as
like popular,
collectibles,
whenever
collectibles,
it went into that peak where it hit the masses.
Mm-hmm. I'll say that is more like a millennium thing. Like it started around the 2000s, the year 2000s.
Okay.
And then the IEM space is the youngest. It's where I think the most mainstream IEM started popping up in like the 2010s, and now we're kind of at the peak for IEMs, where you have like 3 or 4 releases going on every week, and these are not cheap as well. These releases are like a few $100s going on. It is, yeah, so it really depends on which side of the game you're playing, because it basically depends on whether you're playing with speakers, or you're playing with headphones, or you're playing with IEMs. Obviously, I'm the IEM guy because it's more fun. There's so many releases coming out. Headphones probably get like 2 or 3 releases a year. But with IEMs,
plus storage is really easy. You don't have a closet just stacking up boxes and boxes of headphones.
I have a few hundred IEMs, and it takes up like what, 1 cupboard of space.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's great. In terms of like keyboards, I think it's a lot younger. So I've been in it for maybe like 3-ish years now. Like the gaming mechanical keyboard space is a lot older, but as far as the custom mechanical keyboards go, I would say like maybe, I don't know, like 4 to 5 years. And then it really gained popularity 2 years ago. So like it started booming 2 years ago, and last year it did really well. This year I have no idea how it's doing. But
I've been seeing a lot of like keyboard YouTubing blow up in like the mainstream side of the audience.
Yeah, it wasn't really like it didn't reach the masses until maybe 2 years ago.
Until like GMMK, because I got the GMMK like 4 years ago or 5 years ago, and back then it wasn't as big as it was today. I mean, it was still really big, like within my friend circle, which are mainly comprised of audiophiles. Still a lot of people were playing with keyboards, but I didn't realize how big it has gotten until like I myself have gotten into YouTube as well. And when you started, when not you specifically, but other keyboard YouTubers as well started coming in as well, I started getting recommended all over the place. Like, here is
I think 2020
glasses,
was when that
glasses,
really escalated.
Squashy Boy, also fellow Singaporean. Unfortunately, he has to go to army now. But yeah,
he'll be back. He'll be back
someday.
Yeah, and he'll be buff. You know, he'll be back and he'll be buff, and it'll be good. He'll grow his hair back.
Hopefully, he'll be coming back soon. Actually, he should be. he should be. Yeah.
I think he had a break recently, and then now he's like, well, I'll be done in 2 years, I think is how long the service
It's
is.
2 years, but I'm sure he'll have time while in the army to churn out content. It'll be very much a shame if he completely pauses in the entire 2 years, because you know how YouTube works. You take a long break and you basically lose all your momentum. It really sucks.
Yeah, YouTube is it's a complicated beast. Let's go with that.
The algorithm.
I think the audience also is a complicated beast too, because inside my audience, you have like a bunch of different groups. You've got like people that just want to watch random videos of keyboards that are entertaining, and then you've got people that are like, well, I want to keep up with what's going on. And then you've got people that are really into the space, spending a bunch of money. So it's already like divided between those groups.
Yeah, it's a similar case for mine as well, where it's just like it depends on people. It's like, come here for the personality, hopefully.
You've got a lot of it.
Come here for the information, which I have as well. Come here for just wanting to spend money, which I haven't gotten a lot of want to spend money content out there yet, because I'm a picky boy. I select the things that I want to shill very, very carefully. Unfortunately, that also means that such content comes rare.
Yeah. I was looking for things to buy, actually, when I was browsing your various channels. And I was like, where's the thing he recommends? Like, I just want to click the buy
it's on the
button.
ranking list, though.
I just need to click the buy button and then have it. And then that's it.
Yeah, all of the recommendations are all on my website. That's where I keep things more up to date.
Okay. So I was looking for videos. That's why.
The videos are more like, at this point, more like shit posting. Yes, I try to be entertaining, because
that's
the
what
thing
YouTube
is,
wants.
Yeah, but what most people don't know is that on my website, which I had been doing for the last 2 years, the last 3 years before shifting to YouTube, was that I was just dry. I stated facts. I was to the point, and all my articles were just just information. There's nothing else. No entertainment. Just me being just telling it how it is. But when I shifted to YouTube, that's why I decided, like, I have to be entertaining in front of a camera. I can't just start like reading off a script and being like completely deadpan, right? So
have you always been funny, or did it take a certain learning period for you to like?
Oh, of course there was a learning period.
Who you are now.
When I started, I tried to do things very deadpan, like very deadpan humor, which kind of worked, but I had to think about it a lot. It didn't come natural to me. So now I just decided, I'm just gonna say whatever pops up in my mind, and hopefully it's funny. If it's not funny, then oh well, I guess I'm not suited for YouTube. Thankfully now.
Yeah, thankfully
seems
you
like
are funny.
Thankfully it worked out.
Yeah, it's a good thing. I have a website too. Started 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago as well. I don't write on there anymore.
Yeah, now that YouTube comes up, it's like it takes up most of our time.
Yeah, it takes so much time. But it is what it is.
But did you start your website more on the informational side, or was it more on like entertainment? Like, cause I know some websites they try to make
websites in an entertainment way. We did whatever we needed to do to rank on Google. So we mostly wrote informational guides, how-tos, best of lists, and like reviews. But we haven't done any of those things in a while. Actually, we've got one writer now that's like doing more content, more guides.
You're a writer.
We do. Oh, you're a solo man, aren't you?
I'm solo. I do everything, so that's why
everything.
When I shifted over to YouTube, my website just died.
You have an editor for YouTube now, though, right?
Yeah, Timmy. It has been a while for a very, very long time.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, just to offload a bit, because my editing skills are subpar. It's not great. He does it better than me. Oh, my philosophy is, if someone else can do it better than you, hire him.
Yeah, that's a good philosophy. say everybody does things better than me, basically. Like writing informational stuff, I get such imposter syndrome. Like I've done the stuff that they're writing about, but I still don't feel confident writing it.
I do get that sentiment as well, because near the start I was the same as well. It's like, am I overstepping my boundaries? Is someone else better than me gonna come in and say like, hey, you got this wrong? And I just felt like, so like sometimes I get writer's block because of that, and I spend way more time researching on a topic that probably didn't warrant that level of research. You know, it's like you over researched on something that could have been just a sentence, for instance. Yeah.
Yes. I think someone asked, any advice for someone wanting to start their own YouTube channel?
Just start.
Yeah, I agree. Just pick up the camera,
film something, throw it out, even if it's terrible and horrible. Just start.
It probably
Everyone
will be
somewhere.
terrible and horrible.
Yeah, I don't even want to look at my oldest video now, because it's, first of all, it's very different from my current style, and second of all, yeah, I think it's kind of bad relative to everything recent. And I'm sure 3 years from now, I'll probably look back at the content I'm making now and think to myself, oh, why did I do that? Oh my god, I was so cringy, you know? Yeah. Everyone
I was cringy. I was very cringy. I embraced the cringe for quite a bit, but now I'm like, I want to be a normal human being with a little bit of cringe. You know, not high level cringe, but a medium level cringe. Yeah, enough cringe.
Just enough cringe to spice things up.
That's right. Yeah, spicy cringe, not over the top cringe. Yeah, just start. That's probably the best way to do it. So do you have any pets, animals?
After seeing a cat, I've always wanted a cat. Unfortunately, I don't live alone, so I need to discuss the pet situation with the other inhabitants of the house.
Oh, okay.
Which, unfortunately, they want dogs, and I'm a cat person. No, I don't think so. Like more than one pet, I think it's a bit too much at this point in time. But then I love cats. I would love to have a cat someday.
Someday. They're so cute. We have both, and they all take a lot of time. So we go on a bunch of walks and we feed.
Do they coexist?
Yeah, they coexist. We specifically looked for a dog that was cat friendly.
Ah.
Yeah, they have those. So like they'll test the dog around cats to see if the dog will have that instinctive behavior to chase a cat. And if they don't, then they pass the test.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Wow. Someday.
The more you learn.
I would like a medium-sized dog though. Wait, what kind of dogs do you have?
I have an Australian Shepherd, so he's 52 pounds.
It's a very energetic breed.
Yes, like very energetic.
Dear. I don't think I can handle that.
But we adopted him when he was 8, I think, so he had a lot less energy. Well, he still has a ton of energy, even though he's 10 this year.
Yeah, just mellowed out, but still old man energy.
Yeah,
basically.
like mellow all day except the walks. The walks have to happen, or else he'll whine in your face all day long.
So talking about the whole hobby thing.
Yeah, I was just about to get back there.
You said that the most expensive one would be like 4,000, 5,000 maybe.
I think in that. So because of the limited supply, there's an aftermarket. And in the aftermarket is when things get real spicy and crazy.
So in the aftermarket it's 4,000, or is it even higher than that?
I would have to look it up. I don't think those have even been produced yet, as the auction ended a couple weeks ago. But nowadays,
so in the headphone space, it's like the opposite, where the retail prices are higher, but the aftermarket is obviously lower because everything's mass produced. There's no point in
like hoarding and collecting.
There are some, okay. the discontinued stuff,
Mm-hmm.
one of which would be the Sennheiser HD580, like 580.
Mm-hmm.
Discontinued a while back, now replaced by the HD600, but a lot of people love the 580 regardless. So the prices for the 580 just keep going up. And
Wow.
I think mentioning this now is probably going to go up even higher again.
It's more
But yeah,
desirable.
it's old, it's vintage. People love the vintage
That's
thing, regardless
see,
of what hobby you're in.
the fact that the headphone space has vintage is I think an indicator of how much more advanced it is than the keyboard space, because there's no vintage here.
Alps.
Okay, Alps and
Alps, though.
IBM are probably like
Yeah.
as vintage as it gets.
Yeah.
But those
There are more vintage ones like Stacks, but that's like a completely different rabbit hole that we have to go into. It doesn't go that high though. Even as I say this, we're talking about like what used to cost like 200 or 300, now costing maybe 400 to 500. It's not that big of a leap. But in most cases, yeah, like I said, the expensive stuff usually just come from the retail prices, and the retail prices have just been increasing and increasing and increasing. Used to be that the original version of this headphone, the HD800, was the most expensive headphone on the market. It was
And
like
now it's not?
$1,000, and people lost their minds. This was back in the ancient year of 2009. So now $1,000 headphone is like, this budget. That's mid-fi. We call it mid-fi at this point. Nah, you don't understand. The headphone market is insane. Yeah, $1,000. That's mid-fi. It's not even a hi-fi. It's mid-fi.
That's insane. See, I knew this hobby was expensive, but that's crazy. If that's just middle tier,
yeah,
middle tier for keyboards is like probably 500.
As far as like 6,000. Yeah.
Wow.
The Utopia that I just mentioned as well was like it used to cost 6,000. I think now it's like $4,500. And if we go even higher, we have the absolutely legendary and crazy Sennheiser HE1, which is $60,000.
That's like a big car or a small house.
Yeah, I hope no keyboard ever gets to that price.
I don't
but yeah,
know if it will.
The most expensive headphone in the world currently is the Sennheiser HE. Okay, no, there's actually more expensive ones.
Does it warrant its price tag? Like, what separates it from the rest? Like, why is it so expensive?
It is an entire system in itself. So what you get is the headphone, and the headphone doesn't work without the amplifier. At this point, it's not called an amplifier, it's called an energizer. Hey, it's a cat.
Yes, it's a cat.
The energizer is what is required to run this headphone. And it just everything all in. The energizer is built from like a solid block of marble, I think.
Wow.
Everything is all in, like you could customize the marble because the HE1 is built to order. So if you tell the guy, hey, I don't want marble, I want jade, they would just do it for you. Obviously you have to pay extra for that, but yeah, they'll just do it for you. You could ask for a solid gold block as well. Obviously, again, you have to pay for it,
or diamond
extra, but diamond if you can afford it. Yeah, if there is even a diamond that's one entire solid chunk, sure, why not?
You just glue them together one at a time. Oh, that's
so
crazy.
Everything about it is very custom. It was featured in the movie Parasite at one point. If you remember, like Parasite took place in this rich person's mansion. Yeah, so it is seen as luxury, and of course, not the regular person would never be able to afford a $60,000 headphone.
Oh yeah,
but
you'd have to be a billionaire.
We can all dream.
I didn't even know of it to dream of it in the first place until now.
Now you know.
Now I can dream about it.
Wow. Even below that, it's not like there's a huge gap, because even between the range of like $10,000 to $60,000, there's like the Hi-Fi Man Shangri-La, Hi-Fi Man Shangri-La Juniors. Still very much expensive. I think most hobbyists would prefer to spend under $10,000, and I know that still sounds like a lot, but yeah, that's like the reasonable person's budget, and I say reasonable with quotation marks here. It's a hobby that could be very cheap or very expensive. I guess that's the biggest one, because if you're going cheap, you can just get like KSC 75s. Those are like $20,
And then
and I
feel
love
pretty
them.
good
I love
about
them
yourself.
to bits. Yeah. Or you could go up to like $200. That's like the 6XX. It doesn't have to be that expensive. $200 in a keyboard space is reasonable, isn't it?
It's pretty reasonable. Most of the things that come out nowadays are in the 500 area. Like the range of it isn't as wide as the audiophile space. So with most like custom keyboards, you're seeing maybe 300 to 600 for when you enter a group buy. And that's
I
have
think
you entered
in
a
the
group
audiophile
buy?
space is about the same as well. Like most people would prefer to spend under $500 just for the headphone, and of course they'll spend extra on like the amplifier and the DAC, because that's also part of the experience. Anything further than that is where we get into more luxurious territory. Obviously, less people pay for that, but it's still very much an industry to a point where people can just mass produce stuff in like the $1,000 range.
Wow. I'm waiting for the day when keyboards get to that space. You know, when $500 keyboards just get mass produced and you don't have to wait 6 to 9 months to get your product that you gave them money for. Like, that would be great.
I guess at this point it feels like maybe when more Chinese factories, because I think the boom on the headphone side was more like when the Chinese got involved, where all the factories
the Chinese
started to special.
are very involved right now. I think
but even then there's not enough production, right?
Yeah, not enough production. I think it's because there's not a lot of companies that just come in with big capital, like big chunks of capital, and then like order things. So because we're in the system of let's collect money first and then let's produce, I think that's why we're stuck in this cycle.
Yeah, that's true. They're not convinced of the demand yet.
Yeah.
Someone needs to convince them, like there's this huge untapped market.
Yeah, someone needs to come in, have, I don't know how much money, $500,000, and be like, I want like 5,000 keyboards, and then like let's do this.
So someone needs to bankroll.
I don't know if there's anybody making that much money. Maybe there probably is.
Anyways, the even within the IEM side, we're getting like $10,000 IEMs, which is still crazy to me. But the interesting thing about the IEM space is that feels like almost everything above $3,000 is almost always a sham.
Oh.
Like it's just expensive for the sake of being expensive.
For like hype.
Yeah, like we shoved in like 10 drivers in this or 20 drivers in this, and now it's the best thing ever.
Now it's like a surround sound IEM.
Yeah, but then when you hear it, it's like, well, I still prefer my insert price bracket here IEM. So it's, I guess in the headphone space, it's more like there's so much material to work with. You like in the case of the HE1, where you have the energizer, the headphone, and everything all comes together. In the IEM space, everything's so tiny. There's only so much you can shove into an IEM. So things still get expensive. There's like the most famous $10,000 IEM would be the one from Obravo, which sounds like hot garbage, unfortunately, still. And there's like a $6,000 one called the Aureolus Traily, which is also very popular. $6,000, the hobby just goes really expensive very, very fast. And I haven't gone into like DAPs. You know what DAPs are?
No, I know what DACs are, but what are DAPs?
DAPs are digital audio players, MP3 players, but in the audiophile sense. Basically, it's like
So not your
yeah,
phone.
it's literally an MP3.
They don't
player.
use their phones anymore. They like buy these specific players.
The phones are for peasants. These people, they ball out with like their own actual thick, not phone.
Like the old iPods, you know, with the screen and the wheels.
Not with the wheel, but no. Actually, now a lot of modern DAPs are like, they look like phones, but they're just really, really thick. They look like there's a reason why they call them bricks.
Why do they have to be thick? Are they cramming?
Apparently, the amplifier module takes up some space. The DACs takes up some space. The battery as well. I honestly have not looked into DAPs a lot because again, I like to listen off my phone. But in these cases, the DAPs could cost also upwards of like $5,000 and so on and so forth. And again, this is a cost that's separate from the IEMs or the headphones.
Wow.
Yeah, this I guess is equivalent of like the switches costing as much as the boards themselves.
Yeah, I can see that. Or like the computer, I guess, that you need to connect the keyboard to. Because you need a computer.
Do people factor in the price of a PC into the keyboard? No.
I don't think so. But it's a prerequisite. You need the computer, or else why would you buy a keyboard?
Yeah,
but no, I don't think it counts.
Talking about this makes me realize, like, man, the hobby goes...
It's crazy.
Really, really far
so
up.
Really good setup, including like an amp and a DAC and an IEM, like how much would that cost?
Talking like top of the line.
Yeah, top of the line where it's not a sham. No shams.
It's not a sham.
Yeah.
Do you want me to include the HE1 in there?
No, that's a little too unique, I think. When it's a one of one.
I think the most common setup would be like a high-end headphone that again isn't a sham, which is like a Utopia level, which is about 5,000, 4,000, 5,000. You have an amplifier and DAC stack, which can cost a few thousand on each side as well. So let's just assume that your amplifier and DAC stack is 5,000 as well.
What do you mean on each side? You mean like for the amp for the DAC?
People will buy
for like left and right.
Dedicated amplifier and a dedicated DAC.
Okay. And then you just
and all of them are like connected. No, it's like connected to wall power. So you have to basically stack them on top of one. You stack them on top of one another because the DAC needs to connect to the amp. So this entire setup plus the headphone could cost considerably up 10,000 total. And of course, if you want to pay extra for the snake coil, like the DAP is for portable use.
Oh, okay.
Because it's MP3 player, but some people I don't want it battery powered. I want it running off of my wall.
Okay.
So they buy the dedicated stuff.
Okay, what about like a record player? Is that included in there too?
That's if you want to play with vinyl. That's a completely separate rabbit hole that you get into.
So if you connect it to your wall, does it connect to your computer, or like where does the music come from?
When I mean connect to your wall, I mean like in terms of power, like where the power is coming from. Like of course you'd connect the DAC to your PC, and then the DAC connects to your amp, and then the amp connects to your headphone. And then of course in between, if you want to add in a record player in there, you call them like vinyl, like the turntables, right? That's a completely separate rabbit hole. You have to talk about preamps and
is that a different hobby, or is that the same hobby?
It is a subsection of the hobby. I would feel like people, you don't talk about it until you get into it. But if you don't talk about it, most people just assume that you're listening with like MP3 files or like FLAC files or lossless files, etc. And then don't get me even started on the snake oil stuff.
What is the snake oil?
Spending like thousands of dollars on just the cables itself. Like I said, the amplifier needs to connect to the DAC, right? Some people would spend thousands on just the wire connecting these two things.
And does it do anything?
I don't. Okay, I've tested it. I've actually personally tested it. Someone's come and be like, "Hey, go try this. It sounds really good." I tried it. I did not hear a difference at all. But people still spend on it.
Yeah,
People,
it sounds good.
I don't know why. You know, I guess it sounds good to them. It's your money, I guess. It's your wallet. Who am I to tell you? But there's also other things like the famous one would be audiophile rocks, which is just stones that you put on things and it makes them sound better. It is a thing.
I've never heard of this in my life. Audiophile rocks.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like one of those chakra things, but for audio.
I gotta look at audiophile rocks. Oh, and then, it is legit.
It is. I am not lying.
It looks
There's
so
also
weird.
Yeah, the snake oil rabbit hole is a different rabbit hole altogether, and there's not snake oil, but rather shark oil, where you put shark oil on the contacts of your headphone jack, and it makes it sound better. Let me find the link for that.
This is wild. This is wild. I don't think we have anything like this in keyboards. We have desk mats. They're about $25. They make your keyboard sound better automatically.
Let me just hey, I'll send you the link. Show it to the stream.
Okay.
It's shark oil.
This is crazy stuff. Here we go. Shark oil.
Squalene oil.
Squalene oil and liquid gold.
Shark oil.
Which
is shark oil.
Costs quite a lot if I could translate euros to dollars.
$150.
Oh man.
Thereabouts.
It improves your connection.
Yeah.
Made of
put
gold.
Put it on your headphone jack. Makes everything better.
I don't know why someone would believe. I mean, it's got 6 reviews and is
it all 5 stars though? Oh no, it's 3.5.
There's 1, 2, and a 4 and a 4. 1 5-star. They're all French, so I don't know what they're saying. This one says maybe it works.
Maybe.
With my limited French knowledge.
There is besides shark oil, there's also what I'll affectionately refer to as tennis balls, which is like foam balls that you attach to the cables, and it sounds good as well.
It sounds good.
Good, yeah, good. Like if you hear it, you hear it. This is the whole placebo thing, right? You know, you spend money to hear things that other people can't.
Yeah, okay. So you're basically spending money to be crazy.
Some people, you know, they have too much money. They have more money than sense. Yeah, that's the saying.
Yeah, yeah. Desk mats, they work. They're $25. You put your keyboard on it, and boom, sounds better than if it was on a table.
Some mats do make the keyboard sound different, though, right?
Yeah, I think it depends on the material you use, like a desk mat versus like a leather mat, or putting a t-shirt on your desk. Like they make different sounds.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things that affect sound.
Someday I'm gonna explore that. Like I did talk to some of my friends in the hobby on both sides, and I told them like I might be getting into mechanical keyboards at some point, but I want to make sure that it's something that no one else is doing.
Ooh, if you do keyboards, like more keyboard sciencey stuff, because I was talking to my Discord about this the other day. Like there's so many different materials, and we say things like, oh, a brass plate will amplify the sound of your tactile switches. Like there's no like concrete evidence proof in there. It's more just like, this is what I hear, this is how I explain it in words, but I can't give you any more than that, other than I think this is what it does.
That is something that I want to do. It's like measure because I do measurements for headphones and IEMs. So I was thinking of doing something similar for the keyboard space as well. Not like actuation force, because
No,
everyone
that's
does
boring.
actuation
That's
force
boring. No
measurements. Yeah,
one. I
I'm
don't
gonna
think
do sound.
anybody
Yeah,
cares.
sound.
Sound is
I'm
what
gonna do
people
sound
want.
measurements.
Like sounds of switches,
Like,
sounds of
yeah,
keyboards, materials, like different
but
foams.
yeah, but not just like sound demos, because that's also what everyone else is
Yeah.
doing on YouTube, but actual like graphs and waterfalls or whatever. But it's still complex. I've been
Yeah.
thinking about it, but again, I want to make sure that I have everything down before I actually start.
No,
That's
that
gonna
would
take a lot
be
of work.
awesome. Yeah, if you can find out a
Yeah.
process that could quantify the way that we hear.
Oh no, it can absolutely be
That'd
quantified.
be
It's
awesome.
just how, not how. Like, plus I have the software, I have the process. I just need to know how to like process the information. Yeah, it's
How
hard. It's
to
a
like
whole thing.
explain it in human terms, like from numbers to.
I guess the simple answer would be just to record the sound, and then display it into a graph somehow.
Yeah.
The way that I want to do it is in a similar way of a graph called CSD. Oh my god, okay, yeah, we're going deeper.
Yeah, I don't know. I watched
Exactly.
I watched your video.
Some people in the
on
chat will probably know,
graphs.
like, oh, CSD, yeah, CSD accumulate, yeah, but yeah. So basically, I'm thinking about it. It takes some work because it's obviously something that no one else is doing. But if I
Yeah.
manage to do it, then I have a niche.
Yeah,
I have something to
there's
latch
no
on.
how-to on how to do this. You have to come up with it yourself.
A spectrogram, if some people know what that is.
Some people, maybe.
Some people in chat.
Some people in chat, yes.
It is something that I am thinking about doing, but I obviously, as someone who is very new to the hobby, the whole like mechanical keyboard switches hobby, I don't want to overstep my boundaries too much, because again, there's not a lot of things that I know. I already admit it. Like, I only just learned about the existence of how different keycaps apparently also affect the sound.
Mm-hmm.
Not just the material of the keycap, but the actual shape of the keycaps as well.
Shape.
Yeah. So I just learned about all of these things.
There's a lot to play around with.
Yeah. The only thing now is just how to, like you said, quantify the differences, which is easier said than done.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
And then like to put it in a apples to apples comparison, that would like allow someone to read the graph and sort of imagine the situation that it was tested in. Because there's so many different variables here. Yeah, there's a room that you're in.
I do have some like idea, because like some people talk about the clack and then there's the thok, right? Because apparently these are two
very popular terms.
Two opposing sounds. But
Yeah.
there's actually a way to quantify like the clack and the thok, even on like a basic frequency response graph, where the thok is more low frequency and clack is more high frequency. So you could very well see it on a graph as well. Like, you don't have to listen to the sound demo. You just look at it. Oh, that's clearly a clacky thing.
That's a clack switch or clack keyboard. No,
just
that would be awesome.
That's a clack. I don't like it. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be super cool if like companies could start doing these kinds of things, and then you don't have to buy it.
Companies have started doing like the actuation force graphs. So
yeah, all switches.
There is precedence for it.
Yeah. But with keyboards like that haven't been made yet, where there's one or two prototypes and they're trying to sell it to people, like having a graph would be really helpful. If we all knew how to read the graph, I don't know.
Yeah, someone has to start. Someone has to be the industry standard at some point. Hopefully it's me, but you know, someone else might swoop in and take the crown from me.
I don't know.
Before I finalized everything.
The knowledge to even get started is so difficult. Like, I
It
just wouldn't
is.
even like. I wouldn't even try.
Yeah.
I'm not a numbers
So
person.
that's where my knowledge in like headphone and earphone graphs come in, where it's like, yeah, now I've learned how to measure headphones and earphones. I could take this knowledge and try and measure keyboards somehow. Don't know how yet, but somehow.
Yeah.
Rough ideas are there. Rough ideas are there.
Okay. I mean, I've got nothing. I've got no hints, no clues. I have no idea how to solve this problem, but I believe in you.
Someday. I am working on the food channel first. Oh, there's so many things I'm working on.
How
I'm not
many
sure if I have the
channels do
time
you
to look
plan
at.
on having?
At this point, it's just a two extra: the food channel and the keyboard channel. If I manage to iron out all the kinks on the keyboard stuff. So the keyboard one is more like if it happens.
Okay, but the food one, you can eat stuff. You've already got that.
I'm already eating stuff, so why not just film myself eating stuff? Huh?
Yeah, then make money eating stuff.
And make money, yeah, and hopefully get free food at some point.
Is that a goal?
It might be.
It could happen.
I mean, obviously, at some point, it's like, oh, I want to go to this like fancy fine cuisine restaurant, but it's like a few $100s per person. But if it's free, yeah.
Why not? I've never eaten at a fancy place either, so you let me know how that goes.
Ask him about using the freakish head to measure headphone keyboard audio.
Is that
I'm not going to use the head. The head will interfere. I'm just going to use a standard free field microphone for that. Yeah.
Not the
because I have a fake head
that you plug IEMs into.
Yeah, that I put headphones on as well. But it wouldn't work for keyboards, unfortunately. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know how that could work. Unless you...
No, it's kind of like just emulating the head, which is important if you're measuring headphones and earphones. But for measuring keyboards, you don't need a head. You just need a mic.
Microphone. But don't you have to
microphone in front of the switch?
Don't you have to take into account, like, we have two ears, so the way we hear the keyboard sounds is different than a microphone that has one input.
Not in this case, unless you're doing sound demos. But if you're doing a graph, no.
Oh, I don't think anybody does two microphone sound demos anyways. That could be new. I don't think so.
I mean, I'm pretty sure some ASMR artists.
Yeah, ASMR people probably, but
binaural keyboard ASMR.
Most keyboard people have one single shot microphone.
Yeah, because it's the most consistent, which is the same reason why I am going to just use one as well, because it's the most consistent.
It looks like somebody does binaural recordings.
Binaural headphones. Just use two mics, man. We'll see someday. I'll let you guys know
you keep us updated on that.
Yeah. Still working on it. I've been working on it for like I've told people that I'm working on it for the last year, but I've never actually had the time to look deep into it beyond like theory crafting. Like, oh, I could do this or I could do that, but have I actually tried it? No.
It might not work. Well, now you've publicized this intention to the world, so maybe that would make it more likely to happen.
Extra motivation when hundreds of people come down to my comment section and ask a keyboard graph when
they want it. We want this.
Do you see keyboard collab board? I don't want to collab on a board though. I want to collab on a switch. The switch is the thing that makes the sound.
No, everything makes a sound.
Everything makes
a sound.
But the switch is the one that I'm most interested in. Because I want something that slaps.
That's
actual
fair.
slapping.
That's fair. Would it be a clicky?
I have a very rough sketch of an idea in my head, but I don't think click bars are the way to go. I want something that is like You know, there's like low profile switches.
Yeah.
Uh, what about the opposite direction? What about a high
High
profile switch?
profile. Okay, now
Yeah.
you're talking.
So you get even more like even more space to actuate.
To
And
produce more
I'm
sound.
thinking. I'm thinking. You
Make
know,
sure you patent
all I
whatever
love
these
crazy
ideas
ideas.
are. Gotta patent these things, you know, or else someone's gonna steal it from you.
Oh, El Jefe is here as
Oh, El
well. Sup, dude?
Jefe, hello.
Sup, dude?
Nice to see it. He reviews headphones. No, he
Mostly
reviews
true wireless sets.
yeah, true wireless things.
Yeah, very popular nowadays. I think the
Yeah.
most popular video on my new channel is true wireless. It's like it's mainstream
Yeah,
bait. I call this kind of content mainstream bait.
normal people can why. Well, people not normal.
Not
Cross
normal.
out normal. People that are not in the hobby can also consume those videos.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like who's gonna spend $1,000 on IEMs, huh?
I mean, now that I know about them, I still don't think I'm gonna spend the money on them.
Which is understandable, yeah.
I'll shoot for
Wait,
100
what's the highest that you would spend
on IEMs.
on IEMs? Yeah,
I mean, if
for headphones, you have
they're
plenty, right?
yours, you know, I'm willing to shell out the extra dollars, but normally probably 100.
100. Again, that's like technically the optimal like price bracket at that point. So,
And then for
understandable, yeah.
headphones, I think it depends on the comfort. 'Cause, if it's 300 and it's not comfortable, then I'll never I won't put them on. So comfort is a big thing there.
Have you ever considered like what was I gonna say? Speakers.
I have. I don't know. I'll think about it because with speakers, don't you need like to set up your room correctly and make sure things are like pointed right, and you need panels and.
Technically, those are optional.
Because my TV makes sounds, and the living room is terribly not treated at all, and it's
yeah,
just,
but it's
like
your
shit.
TV. TV speakers suck.
I know.
Terrible. Even soundbars suck. Yeah. All you need is like 2 proper speakers.
Maybe
I mean, at that
do
point,
need speakers. I would like something
I
for
don't
the
treat my room
TV.
personally. So, like I said, it's pretty optional. Like the calibrations that I do for my speakers are all digital. So
Okay,
yeah, I have no space for.
let's say I'm thinking about speakers. What's the spending look like when it comes to speakers for a newbie?
500 for a pair. That's like a good amount.
Do they need a amp deck thing to pair along with it to power?
You probably need a deck, but at very minimum, a deck with like with XLR in outputs. Yeah.
Okay.
Because at that point, your speakers are gonna be self-powered. Like, and most of the time, I recommend people to buy active monitors
where you plug it
that's
in.
a little bit more brain dead. Else, you have to think about buying a power amp and all that. Nah, like for a beginner, just buy active monitors with a DAC with the XLR outputs.
Okay. I'll think about it. Is there anything that you recommend in particular?
Recommend? Oh,
I'll look it up. This doesn't need to be, like, it doesn't have to be an official review or anything. Just on the top of your, from a friend to a friend. What are you gonna recommend? Not to the internet.
The usual recommendation that is like I'll call it like almost the M50 of speakers, which is very common. It's like the JBL 305s, the LSR 305s. Depends on the make and model, because they have different generations of the 305. There are. It depends on whether or not you need something really small. You could probably go for iLouds, MTMs. Yeah. I'm trying to think of others as well. There's also Genelex as well. There's like Kali monitors. There's a lot of options but I guess to simplify all into one single choice, 305s. That's
Okay.
like what almost everyone else is getting. 305s.
305. So, and what does it mean when it has a size like 5 inch, 6 inch, 8 inch? Like, what is
Yeah,
that?
that's just the speaker size.
Oh,
Like
okay, and not
the woofer size, yeah. So 305s would be 5 inches on the woofer side, and the
Oh,
tweeter
okay.
would be obviously like the smaller one. So if it's like the JBL 308s are like 8 inches. Usually you would see the number and it'll correspond to the size. For example, like Yamaha HS5s, Yamaha HS8s, immediately you know, oh, that's 5 inches, that's 8 inches.
Oh, okay. That makes
And
sense.
the bigger the woofer or the full range driver, the better the bass response. Usually, it's not a hard and fast rule, but that's why people tell you to look at the measurements. You know, look at the measurements. How low do they go? And then I'm also a very big proponent of no sub, no justice, which means get a subwoofer or don't get anything at all. I love my subwoofer. Subwoofers are great.
That's where all the bass comes from?
Yes. Yeah. Subwoofer
Okay,
lets you
okay.
hear all the way down to like 20 hertz.
Okay.
The speakers themselves, they'll probably go up to like 50 at the very lowest. So it's enough, but once you actually have a sub, you wouldn't go back.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's game changing.
Exactly.
I would
It
say.
rattles your windows. I love it.
Yeah. I feel the same about like lubing your switches. You know, once you lube your switches, you're not going back to unlubed switches. You're just not. It sounds atrocious.
There is that what is the word that you use when there is like the is it called jitter?
Oh, rattle? I think it's called rattle.
Yes. Does that so lubing removes rattle, is that correct?
Not necessarily. It's lubing removes scratchiness.
Scratch.
I think
Okay,
when
yeah. So
people
that was the
talk
word I was looking
about
for.
rattle,
Scratchiness.
it's on the stabilizer, so like backspace, enter, spacebar, and you can hear rattle on those keys.
Does lubing the stabs fix that? No.
It helps. There's a lot of stabilizer modifications that you can look up that also help reduce rattle.
Maybe someday I should do like my own modding and not have a friend help me.
It takes a
I'll do
long
everything on camera.
time. It takes a long time.
Yeah.
Once you
Because for this hobby I have been basically like what's the word?
a very
I have
passive
been
buyer.
no, not passive, like shit. What's the word?
Is it outsourcing?
I've been handheld. I've been handheld my
Okay.
entire way through. My friend helped me build the board. My friend held my hands all the way through the journey. So when it comes to people asking like, "What do you do to your board?" I was like,
I don't know.
lube dot. Then I'm kind of like, I don't know what else is there.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I think you'll have a lot of fun doing it. It takes a long time, and you know, try not to hurt your body because your traps will get tight and your neck will get stiff.
Thankfully, I don't type for that long. I don't get carpal tunnel because
Oh no.
like,
I mean
typing
when
is-
you're making your keyboard, not when you're using it. When you're like lubing your switches and bending over it, modding your stabilizers.
To be fair, I have actually lubed the switches on my board, so I know how the lube process works, kind of like there. But but in terms of like the other mods, because he did a lot of other mods, like what's the one where he put plasters on the stabs?
Plastic?
Or
Or like
plasters.
like a
Band-Aids.
band-aid? It's either Holy Mod or
Holy mods, yes.
yeah,
there we
Holy
go.
Mod. Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah. Didn't know how it I don't know how that works, but yeah.
But it does good. Yeah, that one's a good one.
Yeah. It adds foam as well. At some point I'm gonna have to test all of these mods. So
And you
I
really
need to
get
learn
to
all the mods.
go from
what
like
mods do what?
Yeah, that's important. What mods do what?
What mods give me the thought? What mods give me the clack?
Yeah.
Etc.
Do you watch Keyboard? Like Keybored? He talks a lot about keyboard science and like how you can get a different sound from different keyboards.
Oh no, so he's taking my niche already.
No, he's not doing like quantitative things, but he's trying to explain like physics. He's trying to explain physics.
Oh, okay.
That's his channel.
I'll try that. Yeah, I'll look him up. Potential competitor in the space.
I don't know if he's competing with you. The latest one talked about like how mass affects amplification of sound. I'm not that smart, so I can't explain it very good. But you know, he's got science.
Understandable. That's neat. Yeah. Look him up. Maybe learn from him.
Maybe
see where I
chat.
can proceed from there.
I think he would love to chat. He's always open to talk to sciencey people like yourself, of course.
I'm sciencey, but not in this industry yet.
Yeah, you can be.
Something.
You can pick something up or two.
Aerospace engineering, man. Oh my god, wow. So he's a big boy.
Yes. I don't know if he's still doing that. Maybe he's doing the YouTube full time. Maybe not. Crin merch spotted. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, that's my hoodie.
The hoodie.
It is sold, but at this point, not a lot of people buy it, but it's comfy, and I like the fact that my logo is on it.
I need to do that. Just slap a logo and wear it all day long.
Exactly. I love hoodies. I'm not exactly in a climate to wear them, but
yeah,
you know, it's an air-conditioned room.
What's the climate there like? For me, it's super hot most of the year.
It's like a fairly consistent. Let me convert this to Fahrenheit.
Oh yeah, because I don't do Celsius. Hey, straight chroma.
It's like a consistent 88 Fahrenheit throughout the year.
Oh, okay, so there's like no winter. No winter, no summer?
No.
Wow.
No, it's just constant. It's okay, there's like 3 seasons. It's like hot, wet, or both.
I think we have similar things here in humid. It's super tropical. Very tropical.
Very, very humid. Very either hot or just raining all the time. Now we're kind of in the middle of the rainy season, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's similar here. Similar here. So a lot of different sound things that you could really experiment with, especially since a lot of companies nowadays, they include different types of foam into their keyboard kit, so you get to pick. Like, do you want to use one foam under the case, one foam like in between the plate, or two, or like which material, and things get complicated.
Okay. But if I were to go into measurements, I should start with switches first, right? Like a standard board, and then measure the sound of the switch.
Yes, I think if you're looking to do the apples to apples comparison where you have one board for all your testing, and then you put the switch in and take it out, and put another switch in and take it out. But yeah, what is a standard board? There's so many different boards nowadays.
You just got to select one. The only thing that I have to do.
But what if no one knows what that board is?
No, it's just for consistency.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So you basically compare everything with one another as opposed to looking at the graph on its own. So that's the idea behind comparative testing. It's just looking at like what's the difference between this switch and that switch, but not in terms of actuation, but in terms of sound. Then you just kind of compare the graph.
In one board. Yeah, I think that would. I wonder if they're. Yeah, I think that would work, because if you keep all the other variables the same and you only change the switch, then they should be able to be compared to each other without really thinking about like what else could affect it.
Exactly. Then of course, if I'm gonna switch out anything else, I'll have to keep other things constant. So for example, I want to test out like different keycap sounds, then I'll have to keep the switch and the board constant.
Are they going to be stock switches or lubed switches?
Well, I mean, depends on which I'm testing. If I'm testing switches, I could test everything. I could keep the keycaps the same, the boards the same, and then compare between like an unlubed switch and a lubed switch.
Okay, or if like a what do you call it? Manufactured lubed switch. A lot of stuff to do here.
Exactly. It's a
Okay.
lot. There's too many. There's too much stuff here.
I know.
I'm stretched thin. Even my audiophile side is getting me too much work to be
You
done.
need to hire help.
But do the help know what they're doing?
Yeah,
The
I think
question.
that's the problem. I have a really hard time with that too. Where like I can only outsource editing. And Jake, my husband, he does the thumbnails and he's good at that. So like he does all of that stuff.
Oh yeah, I also have my thumbnail guy as well because
Oh,
I
nice.
don't know how to do Photoshop at all.
Yeah.
But basically it's more like I tell my thumbnail guy what to do.
Oh, if you do the keyboard stuff, you can probably use like a keyboard chores person or some helper. Because it's a lot of time. It's a time sink, you know, when you mod stuff and takes the biggest time sink is taking off your keycaps and your switches and then putting new ones in and then putting the keycaps back. Keycaps, they take a long time.
But the good thing is I think I should have enough access to equipment, like not equipment, like in terms of like boards and switches and caps, because I'm actually pretty close to one of the stores in Singapore. Mecca store, Mecca.store, and they have their own physical location as well. So
Oh,
I could
that's
just
so
drop down. They're
cool.
like, hey, can I try out like this
Can I
switch?
borrow
Do you
these?
have this switch? Yeah.
That'd be super
So
cool. Let's see. Holiday asks, wouldn't you have to think about how hard you press the switch and how you release the switch as well?
Well, if I am going to be 100% anal about this, I could probably do an actual like force sensitive equipment.
Thingy, a robot that presses the switch down for you.
Yeah, it's kind of like a robot that allows me to do like what 80 grams of actuation force and etc. and then the release force and all that.
I think you need to build a robot that types approximately 50 words per minute, but touch typing.
Or I could, but then again, for the very start of this experiment, I could probably I'll just do it myself.
Yeah,
like,
there's no
maybe
need.
Maybe in the far future when people will be like, oh, you're doing everything inconsistently, and I have like 1 million subs.
That's true. Yeah, when people start hating, that's when you start improving slowly.
Exactly. Yeah. As a newbie, you know, as a guy who comes in with like 1,000 subs and be like, hey guys, I'm measuring.
Yeah, you're doing your best
now.
Yeah, like my microphone used to be shit and my cameras used to be shit, and now it's like, well, I gotta improve a little bit for the people.
Buying a robot right from the start, like
that's
dropping,
a little crazy.
Like dropping $10,000 on an automatic typing robot. I wish I had that cash.
Yeah,
dude.
I don't think so. I don't even know if that's something that you can buy. You'd have to like
you have to
make it.
You have to make it.
Yeah,
yourself.
you have to make it. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. I learned a lot today, and after this conversation, I definitely agree that the audiophile space is, I don't know, like 10 times more expensive than the keyboard space. Even more than that. It's probably
actually,
like
now that I've spoken
times.
to you, I feel like the two spaces, the audiophile and keyboard spaces, are a lot more similar than I thought.
Really?
In terms of like pricing. Like the average person would probably spend like $100.
That's true. If we're talking average, it's very similar. If we're talking the range, I feel like audiophile
the range
has
is much different.
More range,
because for keyboards, the expenses are more on the board side, the switch side on the cap side, and the switch side and the cap side don't go too far.
Yeah, they have a cap
in price.
It's usually like
whereas
200.
in the audiophile space, obviously the headphone and the IEM gets expensive, but then we have the amp and the DAC as well, which goes even more expensive, and then we have a DAP as well, the MP3 player, the FLAC player, or whatever, and that could easily triple the price of the setup. That's insane. Yeah, but there's also, of course, there's a reason why people like me tell other new and upcoming budding audiophiles to not waste your money and just settle in a little bit. Don't spend too much money on the amp and DAC until you're absolutely sure that you want to. Because those are money sinks. Very, very deep and potentially regrettable times things.
Yeah,
Money
and
sinks.
the resale market in the audiophile space
It's not
isn't
there.
quite
Oh,
as
no,
poppin' as the keyboard
it's
space.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's good and bad because as we have discussed,
Yeah, the
the resale
supply
market
is
isn't popping. It's
better.
because we have to supply.
Yeah,
It's
you have.
everything's mass produced.
Yeah, that
Who needs
is
a group buy
nice.
in the audiophile space? There's no such thing as group buys in audiophile
Yeah,
space.
I'm waiting for that. I think we're approaching that very slowly in the keyboard space, and maybe in the next, I don't know, 2 to 5 years, we're gonna start seeing some things that are really good but also be mass produced. But we shall see, because I cannot tell the future.
I'm expecting China, the Chinese production
to
side,
come
to
in.
to be the catalyst, for that.
Yeah,
So all of these mass produced $500 boards at some point would probably come from China. Probably.
Yeah. When they realize that the demand is there, they'll do it.
It'll pop off.
Yeah.
And then at that point, the resale market for keyboards is gonna crash.
Yeah, it will crash. Yeah, that bubble is gonna crash. So that's another problem in itself, because there's a lot of scalpers or people that collect and then enter a group buy and plan on reselling. So a lot of things happening. So what's the most exciting thing that you have planned this year, whether it be in a YouTube or your website or your life?
This year.
Yeah, this year, 2022.
Honestly, this year is more like just building up the YouTube channel. But now with the world opening up, I've always wanted to travel. Obviously, one of the places I want to travel would be to China, to Shenzhen, the center of all things tech.
I've always wanted to try that too.
Exactly. There'll be great video content. There'll be great networking content as well. And basically, this year hopefully would be the travel year, where I just like start going up to the countries that I couldn't visit otherwise. And of course, working on the YouTube channel. Now, again, I'm working on 2 YouTube channels.
Yeah, you're getting big.
Nah, the second one is still small. The second one is just a small project on the side. See whether or not it works. But of course, my main gig will and always will be the audiophile stuff, the headphone stuff, the earphone stuff.
Yeah.
Not so much the amp and deck stuff, because I don't care about those.
They're just extra. It's fine. You don't
Just
need
extra,
those.
Those are just desk garnishes. I call them desk garnishes.
Oh yeah, same with the audiophile rocks. You need those.
The shark oil.
It's dangerous. Okay.
Actually, is there snake oil in the keyboard stuff as well?
Is there snake? I guess there's this. I don't know if it is
like
true or not.
Things that shouldn't work.
But there's this concept called breaking in, where switches switches are supposed to be smooth, but only after a certain amount of key presses. So there's machines out there that will go and key press for you. In terms of if it's true or not, I haven't seen any evidence. I myself am not willing to break in a switch. I've tried. At some point, I turned my keyboard upside down against the desk, and I was just like press. But there was no way I was going to get to the number of key presses required to do anything.
But with actuation force graphs on the keyboard side, wouldn't this be very easily provable or disprovable? Like testing out the actuation numbers on pre break-in versus post break-in.
Oh, based on the smoothness of the actuation?
I mean, it's a graph, right? It's a very cold, unfeeling graph. They can very clearly look at it. Right?
I don't know if anyone's done it.
I mean, it seems like it's.
There's a lot of graphs.
It depends on whether or not it's whether or not people do believe in. A lot of people believe in break-in, because in the audiophile side, a lot of people believe in burn-in.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I've heard of that.
A lot of people try. I have tried to prove it, or in this case, I accidentally disproved it. Yeah, because it was like, well, look at this graph before burn-in and this graph after burn-in, they're exactly the same. Wow, who would have thought?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think anyone's done it. Like there's pretty much only a graph for a stock switch, whether that switch be like factory lubed or normal stock. That's all I've seen. We haven't seen graphs of people afterwards where they break in or if they lube a switch.
That would be an
Could be
interesting
something to
experiment.
think about. Hmm?
I don't have the equipment for force actuation
Oh,
stuff,
that's
but yeah,
true. That's true.
someone else do it. Someone else do
Yeah,
it.
someone else. It's a good idea.
Gotta pass the buck to someone
Especially
else.
because there's a machine that will break in for you. So you don't even need to go.
I wish. Oh wait, no. There are machines for that in the audiophile world as well. Even though common sense would say, just play your music for a few hundred
Yeah,
hours,
isn't
right?
there something called pink noise that you're supposed to play?
No. Yeah, but again, all of these are just kind of don't work. So you could play anything you want. It's not going to change the sound of your headphone at all. Burn-in is just I don't want to call it copium, but it kind of is copium.
It's like that thing that you're not supposed to regret your expensive purchase after you purchase it because you
Exactly.
didn't
Yeah,
break
it's
it
like
in.
yeah, it's like after 100 hours, after like 7 days of burn-in, and I've completely exhausted all of my warranty and the return window.
Yeah.
Only then will I finally enjoy my headphone.
Yeah, when you can't return them anymore, you have no choice.
That's what I was wondering. Is there something similar in the keyboard space where people just regret their switch or regret their build and be like, you know what? I haven't typed on this a few thousand times. Maybe after that, would I finally love my keyboard?
I don't know. Maybe if you're trying a new mounting style, but even then there's nothing that's to that extent. Yeah, maybe replacing your springs. Like you can try a lighter spring on a switch and it'll maybe increase the tactility or increase the comfort of your typing. And there's a bunch of different springs. So there's dual stage springs, there's progressive springs, there's the normal ones, and there's a few more that it's pretty dank. I mean, you have to open up your switches, replace all the springs, and then close them back up and then use them.
Oh dear.
And that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Some people might regret the way that their keyboards sound, but you can always change it by like changing the plate or changing the switches or changing the keycaps or
That's the
so
thing
many things you can
that's so
change.
different with like keyboards and headphones is that you can't just swap out the drivers.
Yeah.
Wait, no, you can swap out pads. That changes the sound a lot, which is why I was initially offended by your Deconi pads.
I still like the way they sound.
I wouldn't comment because I haven't heard the Deconi pads on the 58X.
It could be that my taste in sound just isn't as exquisite as yours. I'm not there yet.
I don't know. I don't know how the 58X sounds. Someday I'll
I've
test
changed
it.
the pads. I changed the pads on my PC38Xs too. Like they're different too. So I wonder if that affects the sound. It's more comfortable, so I like it.
I have PC38Xs with me, so but pads are a pain to measure because there's so many pads, and yeah, they're just testing all of them on all different permutations on all different kinds of headphones. It's gonna take a long time.
Yeah, you gotta take them off and put them back in and measure.
Yeah, and even the measuring process is a lot harder than you would think. I think it takes about, at its quickest, about 15 minutes per headphone. Yeah, I mean that's at its absolute quickest, and of course you can see the database is like over 200 or 300. Yeah, it takes a long time to gather all that data.
Yeah, that's hard work. Well, it's getting pretty late for me, but I really enjoyed our conversation here. I learned a bunch. I hope chat learned a bunch. But before we go, is there anything, any socials, discords, websites, whatever you want to point the people to and tell them, like go follow, go subscribe or whatever, if you like rock.
Currently, it's just the second channel, Crinacle Plus. I have Twitter and Discord as well. Everything of which is just called Crinacle. So
Alright, it's all...
self-explanatory. Please come to my channel, watch things, be educated.
That's right.
Enjoy the shit posting because not all audiophile channels are as shit posty as me, unfortunately. So I think that's all.
That's what we want. All right. Well, have a good night, everyone. I hope you learned something because I learned a ton. Probably gonna drop a few thousand more dollars on audiophile stuff, but you know, it is what it is. And good night.
Good night, everybody. Oh, good morning in my case.
Yeah, good morning in your case.